How can we respect our soul and our soul's wishes? Again, just turning the flashlight now inwards. It's in the small things, the respect to self.
What if we're as concerned how our energy lands with ourselves as we are with people that we care so much about and that we show up for?
Mhm.
Like, show up for ourselves, show up for our day that way. If you do it with the simple things, it's just going to naturally happen.
You start to feel more. The chatter goes away when you slow down. When you slow down even more of the chatter goes away. And now you really are experiencing. So now you really have this bandwidth and ability to feel what's happening not only in your body, but what's happening right outside of your body and or anywhere else energy-wise.
Once I was still and quiet and just with myself, then you can see everything, you're aware of it because that's the only thing everything was a rush, even if I didn't have to, because I was always worried, concerned, like be somewhere else. I should be doing something else, whether it be for another person. I should be doing more with work. I should, like, all the shoulds of where my time should be going or spent. And then once I started slowing down, then you really see stuff when you start like looking.
When people say, two ears, one mouth, just being there to listen, to witness, to respect, to just listen is going to bring a lot more, in some sense, satisfaction, like a depth of satisfaction into our life, where we find the joy in life is in witnessing people's experiences. Is where it's how we learn, just respecting another being wherever they are. Hello, beautiful souls, curious minds. Welcome back to another episode of Awake and Aware podcast. Today, Tammy and I are going to talk about reacting versus responding and what kind of a state of being, state of mind it requires you to be in order to respond, in order to react. What's the difference there? And we also want to talk about the importance of respect. And I know that word is thrown around quite a bit in the conversations, but what does it really mean to have respect, not just for another, but mainly for the self? What do we do or not do in order to show that we respect ourselves and or that we respect the soul of another being? So let's jump right in and see where the conversation takes us, as usually. Let's welcome Tammy back and let's get the conversation started. In some sense, I find it challenging a little bit, maybe not difficult, but challenging to talk with my dead and retain my steadiness.
Yeah.
It's like whatever I picked there with this guy with this soul. It's like, why did I do that exactly? Okay. Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah, I got it. No, I'm not. It's like, what?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
but that's important what you said. I look to the reason that I called this relationship in, because then it puts it back on me.
Mhm.
So then, and that's empowering, when I put it back on myself and not a victim to something.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then I look at it like a project that maybe I don't really want to do, but I can look into it. But
Yeah.
still, it's tough though.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like, a lot of times I personally walk into conversation with my father and a lot of times also with my mom to show them something that they didn't know about, to quote unquote try to help them, which they didn't ask for. And, of course, it's like my part of me trying to prove to them that somehow I am now worthy. And here it is, just laid out on the table for you. See,
Mhm.
now I'm worthy.
Can you please treat me
Like,
differently now because
yeah,
this is who I am?
yeah.
Yep.
And lately, a lot less so because obviously understanding
Mhm.
the whole dynamic behind this whole thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't need to be doing that. This is not my role. I've asked these two souls to be in my life for some reason, for
Mhm.
a lot of
Yeah.
reasons, in fact. And they've fulfilled their thing, and I'm, moved on, and I don't need to be trying to prove them anything, whether they are
Yeah.
worthy themselves, whether that's that I'm
Mm-hmm.
worthy of their love, whether it's whatever. There's no proving anymore. Yet
Yeah.
the old version, because like when I come into contact with that energy, I feel like I match the energy. So I go home and I change the energy frequency to match the home. And I go to, do the podcast and I match the energy to do the podcast. And I'm going to teach and I match the energy to go teach kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
who is me if I'm always going and matching energies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there is a,
Yeah. I love the way you frame that. And when we're able to do that, the ability to match where you are,
yeah.
because that's different. So, the ability to match the energy where you are, you're in full control of that, and you're just accessing different aspects of yourself that you have created through your attention, your awareness, and your inner work, which is I think that's the goal of what all of us should,
Could strive for.
yeah. And well, yeah, because it's the opposite of being a chameleon and chasing approval and
Hmm.
changing yourself.
Hmm.
That's different. That's not what you're doing. You're
Hmm.
matching. Matching is different than changing. But for me, I found that I realized I was doing that, but that's exhausting. Like it's a lot of energetic work to match things that we love to do. Okay,
Hmm.
this is the energy I'm going to be in because I'm sitting to do this.
Hmm.
But the changing is requires a lot of energy.
Yes.
And then if we're matching, like, that's, I think, why I don't like that guardedness, because then I have to go like clean that off of me, the guardedness, because that's not how the rest of my life, I live out full open
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
trusting to the world. And
Yeah.
it doesn't fit. It, like, mentally, the ego, it doesn't fit to,
Hmm.
I don't want to be guarded.
Hmm.
And I especially don't want to be guarded. So I'm resisting
Hmm.
my guardedness, although I know that it needs to be there. So I'm doing it in healthy ways now.
Yeah.
There's no victimhood, there's no anger attached to it,
Hmm.
but it's still guardedness. It's still
Yeah.
something that I don't, and it's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that there's a good distinction there. I think that there's it's important to know the boundary in like, if you keep going to, let's say, back to like a snake analogy, keep going to a snake that keeps biting you, you might want to wear protective gear next time you go, kind of thing, right? So then that guardedness, I think in that sense, it's a self-protection that's positive in that sense, right? So you know that this is a river that you're not gonna step into again and again and again, and let yourself be swooped by it, right? Again and again
Mm-hmm.
and again. Now you've kind of learned after a few, trials, and you kind of change the strategy around that. Yet,
Mm-hmm.
as you pointed it out, it is a resistance. So I don't know, like, what it might take for any one of us to approach those parents of ours that feel so stubborn in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
or how do we approach them so that it's authentic with our soul
Mm-hmm.
and that it's authentic with their soul, and that is exclusive of ego.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
possibly simple and not easy.
Yeah, no, 100% though. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes we have a choice to say, like, it's like Wayne Dyer recounts, I think it's Portia Nelson had written the story, it's the story of life, and she did it with a street. So
Uh-huh.
she's like, "Oh, I walk down this street. There's a hole in the road. I
Hmm.
fall in it. Takes me forever to get out." And so she goes through this, I think, 3 or 4 times. Like, oh, and then next time she tries to walk around it, but she still falls in, and da 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 da. And then, she falls in, gets right back out. Then at the end, I can just walk down a different street.
Right.
Rather than try to get better at not falling in the hole
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
avoiding the hole, I can just
Yeah.
walk down a different street.
Great analogy. Hmm.
Isn't that cool? I've
Hmm.
always loved that one. Wherever we can, take a different street.
Hmm.
Don't go down the path where the snake lives, or
Yeah.
protect yourself. And it's like, don't keep going in the backyard of the house with the dog that keeps biting you. Like,
Oh,
how
yes.
many times are you gonna go in the yard?
Yeah.
Which is mainly about like family. Like, okay,
Yeah.
they're how they are. It's not going to change. Just
Yeah.
assume that it's not going to change. And like when we talked about expectations, like if we have expectations that the people that make us uncomfortable are going to change, that's a us problem. Like that's a
Yeah.
me problem. If
Yeah.
if that's how I'm going about, and I'm going to be upset every time my expectation that they change is not
Hmm.
met.
Hmm.
Oh, you mean this year at Christmas time it's going to be the same thing when we have dinner? Oh, you mean you're going to talk the way you always talk? Well, yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, they are. And
Yeah.
maybe one day they'll change, but that's their changing shouldn't be on the like docket of our what we're doing. That's not
Yeah.
on our to-do list.
Yeah. 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 That's what it is, really. So, it's interesting. It's like it's because we could call the taking a different route, taking a different street, basically. We could call that avoidance
Mhm.
in sense as well, which again has to do with putting up boundaries, which again has to do with some way of resisting, which is again okay to a point, I think. On the other hand, isn't isn't there some sort of way where I can, again, probably easier said than done, look at my parent
Mhm.
with different set of eyes every time I look at them. And even though I will hear same stuff from this person coming out, complaints, attacks, whatever it is that they do, typically, can I maybe challenge myself to allow to hear it as a call for help? Not necessarily that it is my to help,
Right.
but but can I just hear them and then also knowing that they're calling for help, but they don't actually want help. Sometimes I feel like people don't really want help, even though they are not aware that they're actually asking for help. And so
Mhm.
it's like, what do I do to not help them and allow them to be heard? Because that's what they're really just asking. And they don't necessarily want any challenge. They don't necessarily want to try to get better or anything. Can I respect that?
Mm.
That's a hard one, I think.
And can we respect it, and can we acknowledge? I envision, like see them as a young child, because
Hmm.
that's what's happening, right? Is the
Hmm.
tantrum of a young child. Can I see that somebody's in victimhood
Yeah.
or whatever, a label? Can I see that without it being a judgment? Oh, you're acting like a victim right now,
Right.
so I'm gonna have this reaction, or like not declaring or naming it so that I feel better.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're this, so now I can be this. I can feel this because now I've said that you're that. I've labeled you. Because then that's just victimhood on my part. But like seeing someone, seeing their actions, and then saying, okay, I see it. I don't judge you for it, but I'm gonna go ahead and be okay anyway.
Yeah.
Like that mentality.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really tricky to really understand what exactly is our, or was perhaps our reason of our soul to incarnate with these, certain
Yeah.
parents that we have
Hmm.
that we just cannot find some kind of a way with. I feel like it's not much about trying to fit some in some way to make it work or whatever. It's more about, like I just said, respecting. It's like, can I respect that they're just
Hmm.
very different people, even though they're my parent, their values.
Mhm.
are very different than mine, for instance. Or perhaps
Yeah.
they're not. They're just being masked by
Mhm.
something that they just got used to doing in their life that they don't even mean to.
Yeah.
Like I hear my dad often say, well, what can I do about it? It's just like
Yeah.
apathy, straight out
Mhm.
apathy. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I want to say you can do a lot about it, but I also am like, if I was him in this time, if I was living his life, I would probably be exactly where he, not probably, I would be exactly where he is because of the choices that he's made.
That's right.
It's just that he's not seeing that the choices that he's made have taken him there. And, be it unconscious choices, let's just say, the decisions that he's made in his life, let's just point out that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't see that at this point in his life, that the decisions he made to look at certain situations that happened in his life that transpired, whatever it was, I'm sure many of them difficult, but how he
Yeah.
chose to see them and how he chose to act around them, that's
Mhm.
what molded him. Can I respect that that's the life he is in and not try to keep fixing him and
Yeah.
his way of being?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're only stuck with it and with whatever with something else externally.
Hmm.
We're only stuck with it if we stay attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You don't have to swim in the murky water if you don't want to. If someone else wants to swim in it, then they can. But we don't have to. We can stay on the shore and say, okay, have a good swim. I'm
Uh-huh.
over here and we can talk and we can hang, but I'm just not going to get in the water with you and just not
Yeah.
go that far into something with someone. So, like,
Yeah.
we can respect them, but then also respect ourselves
Yeah.
enough to say, okay, wait a minute, what am I bringing in now?
Yeah.
If I stay or I communicate more and and just learning to be like I'm learning to be more to be direct but keep things short,
Hmm.
which is that was a big change because I always, when you're approval seeking and you have patterns of that, you talk
Hmm.
really fast and you talk a lot and you're always trying to say something and just be good enough. Okay, say something
Yeah.
right and do something else and keep things moving enough because
Yeah.
this target is harder to hit. So
Hmm.
if you keep moving enough, but then that's chaotic and it's confusing and
Yeah.
it's exhausting too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because yeah, one of the things that I want to speak to in sense of the moving fast, speaking fast, and as you just pointed out, is that one of the great things about Tai Chi, for instance, practice of Tai Chi, is that there's three speeds, and I mentioned this before. There's a slow, as in Tai Chi, there's slower, and then there's super slow. And the reason for that, is basically that if you want to see a forest and you are driving in a car by the forest and you see it from a distance, it's like, oh, it's pretty to look at. And
Mhm.
there it goes. 2 seconds,
Mhm.
3 seconds later, it's gone, or maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes if it's a big forest, right?
Mhm.
But you only saw like outside of that forest, kind of like from fast pace. So, like when we speak fast, we're actually missing a lot where we're not aware of it at the moment, but that's what happens. And so if you were to actually try to get the gist of like what forest feels like, to
Mhm.
experience the forest, the birds, the winds, the bark of the trees, the smells, the scents, the animals, the whatever, right?
Mhm.
All of it, just the uniqueness of that moment in that forest. You really have to slow down. You walk through forest. That's where you get to experience the most stuff, right? And
Yeah.
even more so sometimes, like if you pause and you just take a breath and you feel like, oh my gosh, look at all those trees, right? Or whatever, right? And in that moment is when you're experiencing the most. And
Mhm.
so what I feel like with, as I was saying about Tai Chi, three speeds, three basic speeds, slow, slower, and the slowest. The reason that Tai Chi does that is you start to feel more. The chatter goes
Mhm.
away when you slow down. When you slow down even more, more of the chatter goes away. And now you really are experiencing. So now you really have this bandwidth and that ability to feel what's happening not only in your body, but what's happening right outside of your body and or anywhere else energy-wise.
Oh, yeah.
So then, then you go into the perception of energy because the reason that we slow, one of the reasons again, so when we slow down, what happens is that you start perceiving energy, and energy actually moves faster than mass. So the fact that I'm going slower, I'm starting to feel more and more into the energy that is me, that the atoms, right? The vibrations, the frequencies that this body emits.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
More I start to feel into that, more I feel my energy field. I have to slow down to feel it more. And once I feel it, everything around me will appear to be moving in a slow motion in a sense. Because I'm like, like that moment of Neo in the Matrix when the agent is punching him really fast and he goes like, is like blocking it
Yes.
like this very easily, like no
Mm-hmm.
problem. That's what should happen in that when you are enclosed in that slowness of the energy. And
Yeah.
then of course, to I just like contemplate this. And then the next thing when I was contemplating this was that I get back in my car, I drive home and everybody's slowing down in front of me. I get all the red lights and I'm like, this is frustrating. Wait, didn't I just say slow down? Oh. And the life has just these fun ways to put you back into perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's so I love that. I love the way you describe that. It's so true.
it's slowing down, man. It's I can't speak enough to it because in that slowness, the energy just is you can register it better. And
Yeah.
so the breath really is like the catalyst to bring us to slow down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure. I noticed a huge difference in my own in life just by like little things. Like, okay, I'm gonna go pick up a like I did it with every single movement to try to train myself because I realized once I was still and quiet and just with myself, then you can see everything, you're aware of it because that's
Hmm.
the only thing you're. And I'm like, yeah, everything was a rush, even if I didn't have to, because I was always worried, concerned, like be somewhere else. I should be doing something else, whether it be for another person. I should be doing more with work. I should like all the shoulds of where my time should be going or spent. But I didn't realize it until I did. And then once I started slowing down, then you really see stuff when you start like looking. You can see it all.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is why I think when people say, two ears, one mouth, is that hearing, just being there to listen, to witness, to um, respect, to yeah, just listen, is going to bring a lot more, in some sense, satisfaction, like a depth of satisfaction into our life where yes, I mean, is it nice to be able to say something, to speak, and to connect with someone with words? Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
But still, it's like where we find the joy in life is in witnessing, is in hearing the people's experiences is where it's how we learn, and
Yeah.
then and exchanging the
Mhm.
stories and experiences and
Mhm.
circumstances we've been through and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's I feel again
Yeah.
back to the respect of whether it's our parents we don't necessarily get along with very well, or whether
Mhm.
it's just respecting another being wherever they are.
Yeah. When you were speaking about it, particularly with listening,
Yeah.
is it came to mind that we hear and think about, okay, we need to listen to others well, become a good listener, become bring your awareness into relationships. And
Mhm.
so much focus, and are we listening to ourselves as much?
Mhm.
I do that check in a lot because that's where something's going to start, right? So if something develops into maybe a relationship or a problem with something, a miscommunication or something, it most likely started where somewhere the self wasn't listened to somewhere along the line, right? And then that's going to be the foundation, because if I'm not clear on what I'm hearing from myself moving into a project or an interaction, whether it be a relationship or just a gathering, whether it's work or not, no matter what it is, who am I that's showing up to this interaction? And if I'm not clear somewhere in there, or if I haven't listened to myself, maybe I'm going out and I'm meeting people for dinner and I got busy in my day and then I didn't have lunch. Oh, well, now by the time I get to dinner, if I haven't eaten, I'm probably going to be jittery. I'm probably going to be anxious. Maybe it's going to make me be fussy when I sit down. Maybe I'm going to give everybody the impression that I don't want to be here because maybe I look like I'm just not wanting to be there. Maybe I look tense, but
Mhm.
maybe it's just because I didn't eat. I
Mhm.
didn't listen to my body. Maybe I didn't rest well. So,
Mhm.
whatever I'm doing is how I'm going to show up. And then I'm going to give that impression out to others.
Mhm.
And so, like, listening to ourselves from the beginning and on the most basic level, it creates harmony within all relationships externally.
Mhm. I love that you speak to that because I talk about respect, and we again starts to disrespect ourselves first. So if the respect is not there for our own soul's journey to begin with, meaning some sort of learned patterns from our past are now dictating who we are supposed to be, or who we are being, or perhaps it's like you just said, like I didn't have enough food or something. So in this body, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot fully present the power of the soul that I am. Okay,
Right.
that I, perhaps I didn't have enough sleep or something like that, right? Or you have a headache or whatever it is, right? But the respect of the soul is what I want to speak to. Is how can we respect our soul and our soul's wishes to begin with? Because if I'm saying that I want to respect my dad's, soul and how he behaves, and you know, it's not something that I necessarily condone how he behaves, but
Mm-hmm.
how he is, and I can accept that about him. I,
Mm-hmm.
may choose to not be around him, but I can respect his soul. Yeah.
Right.
His scared mind that is trying to protect the hell out of his being. It's like, okay, well, I don't necessarily care much about you, but you're here, so I'll respect you too, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's just turning the flashlight now inwards, like you were saying, and it's in the small things, the respect to self, like you also mentioned about either the food or sleep. Obviously, making sure that you get enough of that, not rushing places, because if we're rushing, we're missing again, just like I was speaking about the forest, right? So if we're
Mm-hmm.
rushing, we're missing whole sorts of depth of things that could unravel if we didn't rush. Then what does that, how would I respect myself if I was not to rush? I would make enough time to go somewhere, to do something, whatever it is. I would give myself enough space, enough time, I should say. Being a Vata personality, I rush everywhere all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten a lot better about that also, and this is one of the reasons that I wanted to, because I wanted to make that change. It's like I've had enough of this rushing around and running all the time. As much as I like to do a lot of things, as much as I like to go from one place to the next, and I may have only a certain amount of time to get there and back. If I'm sitting down to eat, I want to sit down and chew my food and eat and be with my food and with the nutrients and feel grateful versus just like shove it in so the body has nutrients and it can process while I go do something else. But again, so self-respect comes in the small things, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily like, how do I respect mighty me, you know? No, it comes
Mm-hmm.
in like, okay, so can I allow myself a sleep? Can I allow myself space? Can I
Mm-hmm.
allow myself a friend who is going to be actually friendly versus a friend who is gonna be non-friendly, and stuff like that, I would say.
I love that you describe it on the simple, small things. I mean, there's no shortage of, all right, do these 5 things every day and then you'll be whatever, or,
Hmm.
and all credit to everyone who's making them. It's in no way my a judgment of like, oh, forget that. They're great and that's a lot of, but if someone uh is in a state themselves of that where they're not respecting themselves on a basic level, if that connection hasn't been made,
Hmm.
then those 3 5 steps instructions are going to wind up being with an outcome attached. It's going to be being done for the purpose of an outcome.
Yep.
But what we're speaking to is make the purpose of outcome be this, like
Yes.
your heart, your core, your center,
Yes.
how we feel. And so if we're doing that, that's going to just naturally put us where we need to be with all our external things. And so I always flip things to like self-care things or emotional things. I think, because I'm a parent, I think, well, what kind of effort did I put in? I mean, when it was my child and I was brushing her teeth when she was little,
Hmm.
well, you better believe there wasn't anything missed and everything was exact, and it was just couldn't be any more like it was, might as well have been surgery. Like, it's very important how we brush our teeth, right? And then, but have I ever caught myself rushing like, oh, brush my teeth quick, I gotta go, and I'm even walking around while I'm brushing my teeth, going and doing other things, and multitasking, because isn't that what makes us successful, is when we can multitask better. But like a simple thing like that, like, take time, notice every tooth. And it sounds maybe silly,
Yeah.
but I find stuff like that to be really good training ground to
Yes.
learn how to do it. Brushing my teeth, washing my hands.
Yep.
Like, stop, do
Yep.
it slowly. Wash your hands. Wash your hands as if you were going to touch and pick up a newborn baby. You're
Yeah.
visiting somebody in the hospital that just had a baby. You're going to wash your hands really well and make sure that you're really, really, really clean because you care about that infant. And
Yeah.
so, well, what if we care about what we touch just as much?
Yeah.
Like, what if we become as important in reflection of our energy? What if we're as concerned how our energy lands with ourselves as we are with people that we care so much about and that we show up for?
Hmm.
Like, show up for ourselves, show up for our day that way.
Hmm.
And it'll become, if you do it with the simple things, like to your point and your suggestion, it's just going to naturally happen. It's not a job to do or a task where we need to be
Yeah.
disciplined about it. We don't need discipline. It's just the doing of it and just the heart-based caring about it.
Yeah. It's like the hardest to try to get discipline when you don't have it, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
but anyway, I love to speak to a little bit. You said when you are okay with any outcome, if you're really going into anything, any situation, maybe a first date, maybe a 20th date or whatever. Maybe you're going on to maybe you're going
Mm-hmm.
to a new job, or maybe you're going to meet family for spouse family for first time, or whatever it is. The
Mm-hmm.
anticipation there is always going to be there because like how is it going to be? Can we,
Mm-hmm.
because there's two ways to approach any situations really. One is from perspective of like almost like vigilance, and am I safe around this area, with them? What if I say this? What if I do something wrong and they're not gonna like me? So there is that fear background with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that sense, I'm already placing myself into this situation where I'm not okay with it, some sort of outcome. But like if you're in a space where you are okay with any outcomes, like yeah, I'm gonna go, let's say, play a game and I may lose. Okay, can I be
Mm-hmm.
okay with that? Can I be okay losing? And if the
Yeah.
answer is no, I mean, check in a little bit, but with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is it within you that doesn't allow for that space to lose, right? For instance, or that doesn't allow for the space to not be accepted by the family. What doesn't allow for that, within you? Because it's always going to be about us. It's like, it's about me. It's not about where I'm going, the circumstances that I'm in. It's always about how I'm responding to things that are happening. And it's more about like responding versus reacting.
Yes.
The reaction comes from that space of I'm in fear. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I feel unsure about this, and maybe what if it goes bad, and what am I gonna look like? And so, all that kind of stuff. That just
Hmm.
if you change that and flip it around and go, okay, well, I don't have obviously don't have control over it, so I have no idea how it's gonna show up, right? So I'm just gonna play it how it goes, right? And I'm gonna show up with the most authenticity that I have for today and see what happens, kind of thing. If I feel like if I was to go into any kind of situation with open mind, it cannot go wrong in a sense. It just cannot. Even if difficult things really happen and something hard happens. Let's say
Hmm.
you're going for the first time to meet your in-laws or whatever, future in-laws, and then you say something and they really get pissed at you or whatever, and you're like, well, it didn't go so well. But
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that they're gonna hate you the rest of their life. I mean, it might, but that
Yeah.
would be on them, right? In that sense, like, but what you could do, you could make it mean something for yourself, and then that would be a problem for sure. Yeah.
Opportunity for self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
And
Just
maybe they're not
letting it
even going to
be.
notice the what if game played backward, like
Yeah.
reverse engineer the what if, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so I have like the way that I think about outcomes. Now, aside from, when I'm writing a book or I have a obvious like a an outcome a project, aside from that, the literal sense of, okay, I'm
Mhm.
creating this thing and then this is the outcome that it's going to be written and end up words are going to end up on paper. Okay,
Mhm.
aside from that, I bypass outcome because my intention is the outcome. If my intentions are aligned with the way that I make a decision to choose to do my best at living my life this way, my intention is to go out into the world as love, to be a good human and, love people and drop judgment and all the
Mhm.
things that we do the practice for is to live in a more of a state of that and be an example of that and to be transformed and to expand and grow, regardless of what anybody else is doing, without demands on everybody else. This is what I'm doing. I'm expanding. And yeah, that's scary to some people. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not here to absolve their fears. I'm not here to teach anybody how to deal with me or
Yeah.
how to receive me. All I can do is be the best source of me, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to say things wrong sometimes, and I'm going to be in a bad mood sometimes, and I'm going to be overtired sometimes. Yeah. But if my intention is that, then the outcomes all have to turn out divinely, which they're all going to anyway no matter what I do. That's not something I have control over. And so if we focus on that and on our intention, and if we like, yeah, of course, I mean, we are human, and it's going to be like a meeting, like you say, of someone like we really care about that. We care about the impression we make with someone that we love or care about a lot, and we're meeting their friends or their family for the first time.
Mhm.
Of course, there's going to be a certain level of, but it can be a good, exciting thing. If it's fear, then we can check in with that a little bit. Like if I'm afraid, if I'm truly going into something and I feel like fear, like sweaty anxiety, fear
Uh-huh.
about something, oh, I hope this goes okay. I hope it goes okay. Well, what is it that I think is going to go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Good
is it
question.
that I think I'm going to do that's going to
Yeah.
be the wrongness in how something goes?
Yeah.
Because if I've not even met them yet, then they don't have any fault or meat in the game because it hasn't even happened yet,
Yeah.
you know? Of course, it's not, we can, of course, bring all the scenarios in, like the person that, is their family that we care about. Maybe they've told us stuff and, oh no, my parents never like anybody I bring home, or they hate all people that do whatever. Like,
Hmm.
aside from that happening.
Yeah. So, which would, of course, be an expectation that was placed into your own reality and the moment. So,
Yeah.
I love that when you ask like, what is it that's in me that's,
Hmm.
making me question this, or they're making me ask this, or just feel this, right?
Yeah.
And that's really where we need the exploring
Hmm.
mindset at the moment, in that moment. Is if I launch into this exploring, okay, so what is it in me that really minds? Why couldn't I just show up as I am in this, in my authenticity? It's like, what is there possibly that
Hmm.
they could not like about me? Like, what am I thinking in my mind that they will not like? Which part of me is coming up
Yeah.
with this scenario of some sort that's not to be trusted? I don't know, you know?
Sure. And we could take it even further. So let's take the scenario that, okay, you're going to meet your partner's family for the first time. And your partner tells you that, like all the worst stuff, like, yeah, no, they, hate everybody, blah, blah, blah. And, they hate everybody that does the job that you do. And they don't like the color hair that you have. And they just like pull out everything. It's all that, because everything's a reflection, everything's an opportunity for us to look deeper in us. So then watch how that plays out for yourself. I would say to that a person that came to me, I would say, okay, well, did you go in and try to please them? Did you alter yourself in any way? Did you resist talking about what you do because you were told that
Hmm.
they don't like that profession?
Hmm.
Are you altering yourself, changing yourself, abandoning yourself in everything about you? Are you going to abandon yourself and leave your younger self sitting there, like and all by themselves out in the middle of the night, and go off on some other, like, it's a great opportunity, because even if they did say that stuff, well, they probably had a really bad experience with somebody that is whatever you are, like. So there, okay, we can have compassion, like, what must have happened to them for them
Yeah.
to make a blanket statement, to
Mhm.
be so. People aren't just judgmental or like that because just they
Yeah.
sort of feel like it and they're going to
Right.
pick that day. There's something
Right.
under that.
Always.
So we can accept it, respect it, but still show up as ourselves, because maybe we're the one person that says something about this profession that they didn't know anything about. Maybe there's a whole nother aspect to what you do that they didn't know about, from based on what they know. Like, there's just so much it could open into,
100%.
if we just stay and be true to who we are.
Yeah, and that's always going to go deeper for us in our lifetime. The experience that we live that is authentic is always going to feel deeper than any other experience.
Yeah.
And that's really
And
what the soul wants.
yeah. And I'll add too that, and I can speak from personal experience, the pain and discomfort of
Mhm.
self abandonment
Mhm.
is
Far worse.
tenfold the
Hmm.
pain of somebody having disapproval of you,
Yeah.
or even a relationship ending.
Yeah.
Maybe even if it came to that, the pain of self abandonment is always going to be, that's higher and more and deeper
Yeah.
than what could happen with something else, an external relationship falling
Yeah.
apart or having trouble, or pain that happens within it.
Yeah.
Because the self abandonment, that's you and you, like, we
Yeah.
there's nobody else involved.
Exactly. It's like, that like they say, the only person that can truly really reject you is you.
Yeah.
So it's like if I don't reject myself, if I interact with someone else and they say something about me that maybe feels rejecting,
Hmm.
well, that's their issue. I mean, I don't reject myself, in a
Yeah.
sense. But
Hmm.
if there is a if we find like we interact with someone and we feel like, let's say it's a first time date or whatever, or 20, like I say, 20th time date, whatever it is,
Hmm.
and you get rejected. I guess if it was 20th time, you would be a little bit more skilled in the dating. But if it's the first, second, or third time in a dating and you
Hmm.
get rejected over and over, it may feel like there's something wrong with you.
Hmm.
right? Because nobody likes you is the narrative that comes out after that, right?
Right.
Or something in that sense. And
Hmm.
so people typically start feeling to the emotion that comes out of that meaning. That is, I'm not worthy, right? I'm not good enough, whatever it is in that sense, um, because I got rejected. Well,
Yeah.
no, they just said words, right? They said their
Hmm.
opinion. It's not nothing against perhaps you, just doesn't match their description of the soulmate or partner, future partner that they are, envisioning, right?
Yeah.
And so that's all that it is. But again, a lot of times we take it as though they are rejecting ourselves. And that's what hurts, but it's not the hurt that they rejected us. The hurt is of that we
Yeah.
accepted
Hmm.
that rejection
Right.
of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. It's not, their rejection doesn't hurt. What we feel pain because it's our belief in it, just like anything. Like, oh, nobody can
Yeah.
hurt, nobody can make you
Yeah.
feel any way. So if
Yeah.
we have the feelings and it goes further, because, like, of course, like, it's gonna bother us that there's a rejection. I'm not saying it's never gonna, like, ooh, out, like, hit.
Hmm. Hmm.
But if it goes further than that and deeper, and we become upset, and it's
Hmm.
within us, and we have, dis-ease over it, well, then that's, look a little deeper, because it's only in us and what we believe, because just them not liking what we do, or even not liking us, even if somebody says, I don't want to, you know be around you anymore, well,
Yeah.
look deeper at it. Yeah.
Yes, always deeper. And again, in the sense is that if the rejection comes in some sense, again, whether it's a future partner, whether it's or thought
Hmm.
of to be a future partner, whether it's a friend, somehow we get rejected by a friend, which
Yeah.
obviously, let's say that it was a good friend, and then all of a sudden something happens and we get rejected
Hmm.
by this
Yeah.
friend. It feels terrible. It feels
Uh-huh.
hard. It feels rough. I'm not denying that the emotions that come out from that are pleasant, yes,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
can we sit with it? Can we be with it? With the knowing that we understand that
Hmm.
me as a soul has value because I'm here. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a gold medal in something. I don't have to have
Hmm.
straight A's. I don't have to just do everything perfectly, right? I don't have to have my life together even. And
Right.
I matter. I matter because I'm here. And that's
Hmm.
that's it in that sense. So if there is a rejection that happens and I react to it with I got rejected and it hurts,
Hmm.
yeah, feel it, allow it to be there, let it pass, move on. If, however, again, if it feels like that emotion is sticking to you, like you still keep thinking second day later, still thinking of this rejection of this girl that was beautiful, whatever, boy, that was beautiful, whatever, and
Hmm.
they rejected you, and you still feel it second, third, fourth day, look in again, look within. This is
Hmm.
where we find all the treasures because this is like, okay, so what's in me? Where else did I experience this before? The rejection that happened, kind of similar. Where am I taking this baggage with me
Yeah.
throughout my life that the rejection hurts? Where is that belief? Like, what have I experienced before? And then you
Hmm.
may think, like, I don't know, for instance, that, oh, you know what? When I was in the presence of my favorite teacher at school, and then I was in sixth grade, let's say, whatever, and they said that I didn't do a good enough job, but they were my favorite teacher. It broke my
Hmm.
heart. And so from that point on, there is this need that you cannot get rejected because your heart will break. Something dangerous will happen, right? So that's the protective systems that our mind creates, and
Hmm.
because of the things that we keep in the subconscious. So,
Yeah. 100%. And in terms of rejection, like, if we're talking about relationships, a job,
hmm
friendship, intimate,
hmm
anything,
hmm
if it stays with us, where is our trust and belief in universal, divine, God timing?
yeah,
Because do we want to hold on so steadfast and demand that we have something that has rejected us, because if something just said no, whether it's a relationship, a job, nope, no, not now, not at this time, I'm not interested, whatever, we wouldn't want to be aligned with something unless it was 100% aligned, if it
Hmm.
was full alignment. And so when something doesn't come through or work out to what we desire,
Hmm.
there's something bigger at play. And so there's something else there. And I know it's cliche, like, oh, there's something better, something bigger out there for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We say that, but it is true. We're not
Yeah.
ready to hear that when we're in the throes of, like, oh, the thing fell apart, or we've just put so much into something and it didn't come through. Of course, right then is not the time for some, oh, there's better out there for you. Okay, we don't need to hear that right then from our beloved friends or whatever. But can we consider that that is true, and that there's something bigger than us and our agendas or our desires of certain specific things? It might be a timing thing. It might be, okay, not now, maybe later, not now, maybe not ever. Whatever it is, though, we're always being led into the alignment. And so
Hmm.
if we trust we did everything, it's not about sitting silent and then be like, well, nothing's coming to me. I'm being rejected because nothing's coming to me. Well, we need to do our part and get out there. We need to go to the gym and use the weights to get the results. We can't just talk about going to the gym. So,
Yeah.
but if we go and we show up, the next right thing will always happen.
Hmm.
Um, just might be different than what we had our mindset on, but we can check in with where our trust is. Can we trust that there's something more? There's a bigger plan than us out there.
Yeah, for sure. Beautiful. We all kind of come at life from different perspective, different
Hmm.
paths, and they're all correct in a sense. And one of the, see if I can find this quote real quick. We will never have peace in the world for as long as people are at war with themselves.
Ugh,
So again, back to the importance of self-respect. And as long as you are at peace with yourself, you don't have to go out to the world to try to protect country. You don't have to go out to the world to fight some sort of a real actual fight that just causes lives, not just yours, other people's, and possibly yours as well. And it takes out people out of families that people waiting for this person to be home,
hmm,
and they never show up, never return sometimes. So finding that peace within the self is really our, I feel, our dharma in some sense, our human dharma.
yes.
And be in that space of, yeah, can I find peace within me? Can I find then thus peace
Hmm.
in outside world? Can I see the peace in outside world once I have peace within me?
Yeah.
We can. And yes, there is wars. Yes, there are people that are crazy and that is fairly simple to do. It really isn't hard to freak out, to flip out, to get into the rage for over anything, really, over anything, borders,
Hmm.
boundaries, religion, politics, whatever.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
but I'm not trying to be right. If you want to have peace, don't try to be right about it.
Mm-mm.
Right. So you can either be right about something and you can win the argument, congratulations,
Yeah.
or you just have peace. And then if you have peace, you don't need to be right. There's like, people enter into conversations with either wanting to be right and have other people to confirm that they're right, or they enter into the conversation with curiosity and looking to learn something new.
Right.
And then, so decide for yourself out there whichever one it is that you want to practice,
Yeah.
because you could practice really either. That choice is yours. So.
Hmm. Yeah. Very true.
And yeah.
Yeah.
All
There
right.
is no right and wrong. Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. And we can all we can remember that we are the peace that we desire to have. It's just a
Yes.
matter of letting all the other ideas fall away and not trying to be right and convince everybody else. We don't need everybody to join us in our way. If we're an example of it, it's more likely that people will follow an example than words. A living example is followed easily because nobody has to be in conversation. Nothing needs to happen. Nobody has to admit they're wrong. Nobody has to strive to be right. There's no conflict.
Yeah.
So the best that we can all do is within our own right be be the essence of self-respect. That's
Yeah.
going to teach people, it's going to call in, right? We call in what we are, not what we want. And so self-respect is the way to be respected. And if we're not, then we won't even notice because we're all filled up with it.
Hmm.
So we don't need it to come from anywhere else. We don't need respect to come from anywhere else because it's full. We don't need it. We can just then
Hmm.
overflow on to everyone and put it out there. And it
Hmm.
really does work that way. So the more that we are that, then the less we feel disrespect. So therefore, the less we attack back because we know that attack doesn't get us anything. It
Yeah.
just keeps it going longer. But okay, everybody can just
Yeah.
keep going and getting bigger weapons and coming back or big, stronger words to win the fight. You
Yeah.
can either get better at being a fighter
Yeah.
and get better at debating and better at being,
Yeah.
louder and debating more efficiently, or just choose peace and be like, okay,
Mhm.
respectfully, I get it. I hear you. Thank you for your perspective, but I'm going to go ahead and go here and
Yeah.
then move on
Yeah.
because they're not going to stand there talking to themselves. Move out of the way if somebody's coming at with that. We can just turn away and just go be the essence that we are.
For sure. Beautifully said. Yeah.
Sounds easy, but
Right. I guess now we're moving to addiction. So, uh, the humanity is addicted to wars and arguments and, debating and it's like, who is going to be like first? Yeah, I'm going to be better than you. It's like,
mm,
okay.
well, we
Yeah.
think it's the way out of the fear and the pain that we're in. We think that's going to stop the pain
Right.
because people are just in so much pain and they're so desperate to be out of it.
Yeah.
So fight. What is it? I mean,
Yeah.
fight hard, no pain, no gain. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
This is back again to that statement that it's like the one mind that creates the problem, and then there is the same mind that tries to solve it.
yeah.
It's like if they're another quote. I'm literally quoting Peter Crone and whoever else he is quoting to at times
Yeah.
is that no you no problem, right? And what does that mean? Which you? You, not a soul. Soul is gonna be there obviously all the time, but the you, the mind, right? So if the mind isn't creating these constructs, then there really isn't a problem. Now, some people may argue that and may say, hey, you know what? If there is really no problems, everything is in peace all the time, what's fun in that? Right?
Yeah, we would never grow. I mean, we've talked about it often and it's a
Yeah.
huge topic like contrast, but
Hmm.
I mean, if the sky weren't dark, we can't see the stars. Like,
Hmm.
it's the simplest um, expression ever, but the contrast is okay. It's like
Hmm.
not I think that's a misconception. Like, oh, what do you mean there's never any contrast? That's just not how the
Hmm.
world works. Of
Hmm.
course there's contrast
Hmm.
and conflict, but how would we know how to resolve it if it weren't here? This is what we're built for. It's natural to be loving. That's not like, oh no, that's hard work to figure out how to be that way. Some will say, no, no, no. You got to unlearn all the ways out of it. You're created to do this.
But yes, to
Yeah.
be in loving state is really actually the most natural thing to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Doesn't require any effort or work at all.
yeah, yeah. On the
It's literally
contrary,
doing nothing.
hmm on the contrary, to stay in your narrative of
Hmm.
fear and scarcity and
Yeah.
inadequacy and whatever, that requires actually a lot of keeping up, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that's disease causing. We get sick and
right,
tired.
right.
Hmm.
Beautiful. All right. So, well, thank you again so much, Tammy, for
Thank
hanging
you.
out. It's always such a pleasure to hang out with you. So, I'm looking forward to the next one. And until then, take
Mm.
good care. Thank you again so much for joining us for today's Awake and Aware podcast episode. And I really mean it. I thank you specifically who is watching at this moment, that you took time and found some value, hopefully, in what we're talking about. And if you did find some value, please leave us a like, subscribe, hit that bell button, leave us some comments if you would like, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, take good care. Stay awake, stay aware.